Part 134. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1331. On the evening of October 13th, Zhang Xiaoming returned home from the beehive. Why did this dead otaku go out? In fact, the Qin, Rat, King Ji family sent someone. Although Xiaoming made amends to the Ji family in the reincarnation space, they will definitely not hold on to what happened in the Star Wars world. However, they can't do nothing, otherwise it will arouse suspicion from other families and major forces. The fact that the Rat King family suffered a big loss in the reincarnation world is basically known to all the major forces in Pangu Star. Even some foreign forces know about it. After all, with the existence of organizations like Qingyuan Society that are not dead, some major events cannot be concealed. The Ji family had to do some routine investigations, spread a handful of dirt, and confuse the eyes of future generations. If Xiaoming's background is not strong enough, it is very likely that the people of the Ji family will find him directly at the door. The 12 Kings family is so strong. But Xiaoming's background is too strong. The Ji family knows that he is a civil servant in the underworld, so they can't be tough at all. Just look at the time and place that the Ji family requested to meet, and you can get a glimpse of the whole situation. The location is the northern headquarters of the New Han Kingdom of the League of Legends, the Beehive. The meeting and communication must be witnessed by the Red Tide. The time is after 8 p.m. on the 13th. What does this mean? It means that they dare not, or are unwilling to disturb Zhang Xiaoming's normal time to play games. The timeline of the main game does not wait for players. But it doesn't matter for the secret realm, you can log in at any time. That's why it was chosen after 8 o'clock. Even the choice of time and place is so considerate, not to mention the attitude after the meeting. The people from the Ji family are purely polite and routine. When Xiaoming was settling the space, he had already learned about their experiences in the Star Wars world from the minds of other reincarnations. Just make up a story for the Ji family. There is no flaw at all. The other party did not ask too many questions. After listening, he recorded the details and ended the meeting. When they parted, they also gave a small gift, the Rat King car. This thing is the upgraded version of the hero car. The Qin Wang family developed a more advanced flying car. The reincarnation world that the Qin Wang family mainly operates is the world of the Star Wars series, and the technology is quite excellent. This gift is quite good. According to the news that Hong Chao later inquired, several other reincarnations who participated in the Star Wars world also received the Rat King flying car, but the model was far inferior to Xiaoming's. This is a later story. There are different voices within the Rat King family as to whether Zhang Xiaoming is the initiator of the Star Wars tragedy. One side believes that the most suspicious person in the whole incident is this guy who suddenly appeared in recent months. The roots of others can be found, and they don't look like someone who can cause a big thing. The other side believes that Zhang Xiaoming's identity as a civil servant in the underworld can completely whitewash him. The ghost messenger is strictly restricted by the rules of the underworld, and the Rat King family happens to be an existence that knows something about the rules of the underworld. As far as they know, Zhang Xiaoming can't be a bad person. Of course, no matter which idea it is, the Ji family has received compensation. The Kyber Crystal series of weapons are simply priceless treasures for the Ji family who are good at the Force. Since they have received the compensation, they naturally cannot pursue it on a large scale. This also includes not using the family's high-level authority in the reincarnation space. Of course, small-scale investigations in secret are inevitable. But those are no threat to Xiaoming. He doesn't mind at all. In fact, even if the high-level authority is used, the threat is not great. Xiaoming is a space-certified dragon warrior. The authority is far higher than that of the Ji family. After receiving a small gift, Xiaoming went home happily. After chatting with Ruan Mengmeng, who is still studying hard, he logged into the game and entered the Hunter x Hunter secret realm. As soon as he entered the secret realm, he immediately received another good news. The game system prompts, "Congratulations to the player character MaleProtagonist for helping the protagonist group pass the Greed Island game. Players can get the following rewards." Xiaoming immediately knew that Xiaoji and his team had passed the game. Their people are probably also receiving rewards in the game. Although his character MaleProtagonist is outside the game, the system gave him a reward because of his great contribution. It is still a 3-choice reward method. 1. Choose to get 3 designated pocket cards. Can only be used in Hunter x Hunter series secret realms. 2. Choose to get 3 spell cards. Can only be used in Hunter x Hunter series secret realms. 3. Choose to get 1 card of any kind. Universal item, can be used in most secret realms and the main game. It turns out that the system's rewards are also cards. If I had known this, why would I have spent so much effort to buy the right to choose a card from Biscuit for 20 billion? But on second thought, Xiaoming thinks it is still appropriate. Otherwise, for the sake of his master Netero, he must choose 3 designated pocket cards. And now he can choose a universal card. It can be used in other secret realms or the main game, which is amazing. How much effect it can play depends on which card is chosen. The system is very considerate and lists the uses of all cards in detail. Xiaoming's eyes are almost dazzled. Xiaoming basically does not need spell cards, because the magic spells of Greed Island are all auxiliary. Xiaoming can't use them. Other miscellaneous cards are even more useless. What Xiaoming wants most is still the designated pocket card. Card number 0, Ruler's Blessing. The winner of the quiz contest will receive a castle with a village of 10,000 people under the castle. The people in this village will live according to the laws and instructions you set. Wow, that's awesome. With this card, you can immediately take root in any secret place. Become the king of a certain place. Card number 7, Pregnancy Stone. Carry this 3 kg stone with you for a month. After 1 week of success, both men and women will get pregnant. There are 2 types of male and female stones. Please note that you need to bring the stone of the gender you want to give birth to. This is an item that can make anyone pregnant. Whether it is to help people who can't get pregnant or to frame people who don't want to get pregnant, especially men, it is a magical tool. Card number 15, Fickle Demon. You can choose 3 of the player's 1000 wishes to be realized. Card number 16, Advice of the Fairy King. Kindly tell you your shortcomings, how to improve, and other good advice. Sometimes he will run out even if you don't call him, which is a bit troublesome. Number 19, Wandering Soul Pillow. Can make people's soul leave their body. Number 20, Psychometer. Can control one's mental state. Number 25, Risk Dice. Can control the good or bad luck. Number 28, Remote Control of Change of Mind. Can control other people's feelings towards other people. Number 36, Recycling Room. Can repair broken things in 24 hours. And so on and so forth. 100 cards with various functions, strange and bizarre. Xiaoming doesn't want the kind of disposable cards, it's best to be able to use them repeatedly. There are too many good things, and it's difficult to choose. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1332. After carefully browsing so many magical cards, MaleProtagonist, Yin Xiaoming, made a slightly strange choice. He did not choose anything for the time being. There are many good things, and Xiaoming can imagine n ways of using them, all of which can bring great benefits to himself. After careful consideration, he felt that it would be best to choose something that can be reused. Otherwise, it will be gone after it is used up, which is a bit disappointing. In addition, although the selected cards are universal items, they can still only be used in one secret realm or the main game. Once used in a secret realm, the card will take root and cannot be used in other secret realms. This undoubtedly limits the scope of application. So, Xiaoming naturally thought of his copying ability, that is, God's left hand, Devil's right hand. If you can also copy special items in other secret realms, wouldn't it be very happy? For a more advanced way of playing, you should master the detailed composition of a certain item, so that you can copy it in other secret realms. Of course, if you are particularly lucky, you may be able to make specific items in reality. If you can really do that, you will definitely be rich. But if it is difficult to do so, Xiaoming has another way. That is, several Xiaomings enter the game together and are in different secret realms. QB's ability is to touch the real object with the left hand and copy the fake with the right hand. Because there are multiple Xiaomings at the same time, Xiaoming does not have more than one right hand. One Xiaoming can touch the real object with his left hand in one secret realm, while another Xiaoming uses his right hand to copy in another secret realm. In this way, the items can be used across secret realms. At this time, Xiaoming can't help but have a greedy idea. Anyway, we can copy across secret realms. There is no need to make universal items. You can replace them with 3 designated cards. However, this is something Xiaoming dare not gamble on. It is very likely that universal items are different from ordinary items. Ordinary items copied will lose their special effects in other secret realms. On the contrary, if universal items are copied, they may be allowed to be used in other secret realms. This is a problem of game settings, and you have to experiment in person. So Xiaoming did not choose the reward immediately, but waited for Xiaoji and the others to come out of the game Greed Island and take the prizes for experiments. Soon, Xiaoji, Killua, and Biscuit came out of the game. Huh. Here you go. Biscuit was furious when he saw Mutio, his junior brother. Although he received 20 billion, Biscuit was still very unhappy that he could not get the blue planet. So she threw the number 65 Witch's Rejuvenation drug card to Mutio first. To express her unhappy mood. Thank you, senior sister. Xiaoming immediately praised the senior sister's high moral character. I'll do a magic trick for you. Gain, following Mutio's instructions, the card turned into a bottle of 100 rejuvenating drugs. Take one and you will be 1 year younger. But be careful, if you take more drugs than your age, you will die immediately. This is not only a magic drug for restoring youth, but also a magic weapon that cheats people. Since it can work in the Hunter secret realm, it means that this medicine is real, at least in this secret realm. Maybe a senior master obtained some magical treasure from the Dark Continent and made this magic medicine. Xiaoming used his ability to copy a rejuvenation medicine. He looked around for the little white mouse. Mutio, Xiaoji, and Killua are all teenagers of 12 or 13 years old. They really can't take this medicine. If you use senior sister Biscuit for experiments, it seems that you will get beaten. So Xiaoming specially called a cleaning staff in the mansion and gave him the copied rejuvenation medicine. It really worked, without any harm. The man didn't feel much. A middle-aged man in his 40s, 1 year younger, he actually couldn't feel it himself. He just felt that he seemed to be more energetic. However, Xiaoming could clearly see that every cell in his body was 1 year younger. Via. The first experiment was successful. Gon and Killua, who were watching from the sidelines, could not see the trick at all, but Biscuit was thoughtful, worthy of being a veteran strongman. She guessed a little. However, she did not make it public. Biscuit herself was in her prime and did not need rejuvenation. But she felt a huge business opportunity and was thinking about how to use it. At the same time, another Xiaoming also logged into the game and entered another secret realm to do experiments. As expected. As the original version of this medicine is not a universal item, in other secret realms, the medicine copied by Xiaoming has no effect. The second experiment failed. Xiaoming's idea of exchanging 3 items for rewards was cut off. He had to choose a universal item. Among so many good things, Xiaoming's choice was still the rejuvenation medicine. This was a choice he made based on his intuitive judgment. In terms of practicality, many things may not be worse than the rejuvenation medicine. Many have been listed in the previous article. I will not list them one by one here. Just talk about number 64, which is aphrodisiac. The ability of this medicine is that if you hold it in your mouth and feed it to the person you like, the person will become your captive. 1 pill is effective for a week, and there are 500 pills in a bottle. I believe everyone can imagine the great uses of this medicine. At least it will be easier for Xiaoming to recruit those NPC generals of the opposite sex in the main game. However, this kind of thing is too evil. Xiaoming considers himself a decent person and cannot do this. It is enough to use whisper occasionally. Xiaoming finally chose the rejuvenation drug. The reason is that he has an ambition to copy this drug in reality. Compared with other special effect props, this kind of drug product feels the easiest to copy in reality. What's more, Xiaoming also has the identity of Pluto, and it doesn't seem to be an overstepping of authority to allow others to rejuvenate. At this time, the intuition of the force bonus after 10 years of practice finally played a role. Intuition told Xiaoming that his idea could be realized. So Xiaoming chose the universal item rejuvenation drug without hesitation. Unfortunately, his third experiment failed again. 1 Xiaoming in the game, and 1 Xiaoming in reality, using the copying ability, can't make the rejuvenation drug in reality. This is not unexpected by Xiaoming. The difference between virtual and reality is still very large. So, he took another approach. The 4th experiment. Keep the original 100 pills untouched, use the ability to copy about 20 pills in the game, and put the copies into the textbook of the Mind Beast teacher for analysis. As long as it can be analyzed, Xiaoming can understand the principle, and there is a greater possibility of copying it in reality. The analysis process certainly takes a certain amount of time. But it does not delay Xiaoming's normal game progress. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1333. The lake is very clear, so clear that you can see the sand and rocks at the bottom of the lake. The lake is very green, as green as a flawless jade. Underwater, groups of small fish swim leisurely. On the shore, continuous trees stand guard resolutely. 7 or 8 meters ahead, there is a cherry tree that has fallen halfway. On the upturned tree roots, a man is sitting there fishing. From the back, you can only see his blue beret, gray windbreaker, and long silver hair. There are 3 children looking at him from behind. They are Mewtwo, Killua, and Xiaoja, who came here by traveling together. Is this person Xiaoja's father, Jin Fulishi? Xiaoja murmured a word. Jin. Are you Xiaoja? Hearing the voice, the man turned around and pulled off the windbreaker on his body. Oh, you have grown up a lot. What are you doing here? Kate, Xiaoja screamed. There was a hint of disappointment in his tone. Killua was confused, while Mew Mew had an expression as if he had known this long ago. As soon as he arrived here, Xiaoming sensed that the person in front of him was only B and level. He was roughly equivalent to the top combat power of the brigade. As one of the world's top 5 nin users, Jin should be about the same, even if he is not as good as President Netero, and is definitely not at the level of the person in front of him. Besides, just looking at Kate's smooth and elegant silver hair, he doesn't look like Xiaoja's father with a black hedgehog head. So Xiaoming immediately judged that this person was not Jin. I didn't expect that the spell cards of Greed Island could also be invalid. Aren't you afraid that we will complain to the Consumer Association? In fact, This is not that the card is invalid, but a trap that Jin had set when making the game. If Xiaoming uses the magnetic card alone, he can see Jin himself. If he uses the companion card to bring a friend here, then he can only see Kate. I don't know what he is thinking. In order to find him, Xiaja desperately became a hunter and beat the Greed Island game. As a result, he was not seen because of this trivial matter. It is common to see a son who betrays his father, but this is the first time to see a father who betrays his son so much. Even the people who made the game with Jin felt that Xiaja was very pitiful. Jin Fulishi's substitute Kate is his apprentice and a one-star hunter in the Hunter Association. A hunter who specializes in biological investigation, especially good at investigating large creatures. He visited Whale Island on the way to the last trial given by Jin, find Jin, and saved Xiaja, who was attacked by an adult female fox bear at that time, and thus met. It was because of meeting him that Xiaja learned that his father was still alive and was a professional hunter, so Xiaja wanted to become a hunter and find Jin. Kate was actually the first hunter Xiaja had ever seen. At that time, Kate accidentally lost a hunter card. It was not his own, but his master Jin's 2-star hunter card. Now it has been in Xiaja's hands. Old friends reunited, Xiaja and Kate chatted enthusiastically. Kate was very interested in the growth process of her junior brother. As for the trial of finding Jin, he had already completed it and had become a hunter who could stand on his own. Want to know where he is? No. I want to find him myself. Very good answer. Hunter is such a profession. Lock the target and hunt. Now Jin is Xiaja's target. At the same time, the main plot of the Chimera Ant chapter that Xiaoming has been worried about has quietly begun. The humans in the world of Hunter x Hunter do not occupy the entire planet. Instead, they only occupy a part of the territory. The human world is surrounded by the ocean, and further away is the dangerous dark continent. Therefore, the map of the human world in the secret realm is square. There will be no phenomenon that the westernmost side is the easternmost side like Pangostar. The border of the map is also the border of human activities, and it is not allowed to pass through easily. The southwest of the human world is the Eulabian continent. Before, the city of Yukixin, where Xiaoming subdued the Phantom Troop, happened to be on the west coast of the central part of the Eulabian continent. The southernmost tip of the Eulabian continent is the Balusa Islands. At the southernmost tip of the Balusa Islands, the NGL Autonomous State is located. The injured Chimera Ant Queen was washed ashore by the waves. She will develop her kingdom in NGL. Now Xiaja and others have used the companion card and ran to the center of the Aegean continent in the northeast, the territory of the Cardan kingdom. It can be said that they have almost crossed the entire human world. They are separated from the Chimera Ants by 1,000 miles. Kate and his team accepted the commission of the Cardan kingdom to conduct biological surveys here. Xiaja and the other two naturally joined in with great interest. Only Xiaoming was uneasy. He did not dare to send his clone to NGL, for fear of causing changes in the plot. If he could not save Kate and President Netero, it would be troublesome. Kate introduced his 6 teammates to the 3 of them. Although they were all amateur hunters, they were all excellent talents. The most muscular one who looks like a bear is called Wenta Uras, the tall and thin one with a big hair is called Stickdina. The 2 women of medium height are called Spinacro and Banana Cabeo, the short one with glasses is called Linkexi, the one who looks like a child is Badongo Laboy. The work they were entrusted with was very simple, which was to investigate new species. As long as they found a creature suspected of being a new species, they would take a picture of it with a digital camera. The camera is connected to the internet and will automatically compare the species it has photographed with the species that have been registered. New species can be registered in the fastest time. And the name of the discoverer will also be registered. It can be said that it will go down in history forever. Why do you say Kate's team members are excellent? Because they all discovered many new species. The best is Lin Kexi, who found 1,079 new species in 3 years. The worst is Kate, who only found 68 species. It can be seen that combat effectiveness is not equal to workability. Kate argued that his specialty is finding large species and he is not good at finding small creatures. Large creatures are naturally easy to find, and there are almost no new species. Small insects are the most common species among new species. However, this time, Kate actually made a major discovery, that is, the camping tiger. This is a tiger that knows how to use fire and only eats cooked food. They use branches burned by thunder as fire. There are retractable horns on their heads that are not afraid of high temperatures. They will use their horns to stick prey and roast them on the fire. Except for humans or humanoid monsters, they are the first species found to use fire. The camping tiger is Kate's biggest gain in this investigation. Gon and Killua happily joined the investigation. They quickly discovered many new species, which amazed everyone else. As professional hunters, they can sense sounds, smells, traces that most people would ignore, so of course they have better results. Moreover, Gon has a characteristic that he can easily get along with animals. Looking at Gon and Killua, Kate smiled like an ant. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1334. Kate likes Gon and Killua very much, but she never likes Mew Mew. He always felt that Mew Mew was different from ordinary 12 and 3-year-old children in terms of maturity and stability, and he was too scheming. The aura is very strange, I don't know what you are thinking? Isn't this nonsense? According to the Pangu star calendar, Xiaoming is 35.6 this year. Although he has the face of a young man, he is no longer a child. Coupled with the wasted years in the world of reincarnation, I am now nearly 80 years old. If a person of this age is not scheming, he is a fool. The real difference lies in where one puts his or her mind. Is it used to protect oneself, or used to harm others? This is the essence. Many human beings often have a villain mentality. When you need to attack others, just use the mind-killing theory without any evidence. When others do good things, they say they do it to gain fame. When others help others, they say it is to take advantage in the future. When the other party has achieved some achievements, they say they are arrogant and pretending to be 13. No one can refute it anyway. Others cannot say that they know what other people are thinking. If the person involved says, "I don't think that way," all he has to do is curl his lips and say he doesn't believe it. This is purely a villain mentality that doesn't want to see the good things in others. Back then, Xiaoming had a colleague who attacked Xiaoming face to face with the words, "You are very scheming." Xiaoming asked him back at that time, "Have I harmed anyone?" which left him speechless. This colleague had a certain bottom line and didn't say, "I didn't know who you had harmed." From then on, the two of them had to be friends. Of course, Kate is not such a villain. He just thinks that the child Mew Mew has a strange origin, strong abilities, and seems to be always thinking about some conspiracy, which is a bit dangerous. Although he didn't like Wood, he didn't reject Wood as an enemy. Not to mention making irresponsible remarks to Xiaoja. In fact, it is understandable that Kate would think so. On the one hand, Xiaoming's acting ability is indeed very poor. It didn't look like pretending to be a child at all, and besides, he didn't pretend to be a kid on purpose. In the skin of a 13-year-old boy, there is an 80-year-old soul. The feeling of dissonance is naturally very strong. On the other hand, Xiaoming is actually thinking about a conspiracy. But that was to be used against the Chimera and King Maluem. In order to save the life of his master Nitro, although Xiaoming played with everyone on the surface, secretly he was training and planning in Guangmingding. No wonder Kate got it wrong. That's great, Mr. Wang, who is in his 40s and the head of the relevant department of the Cardin Kingdom, praised excitedly. He was sitting behind the office, opposite Team Kate and Xiaoja's trio. Mr. Wang quickly browsed through the video information given to him by the team and was very happy, especially when he saw the camping tiger. This is equivalent to 200 years of work by the National Investigation Agency. I'm sorry, but we can't pay more than the agreed fee. Kate said nonchalantly, anyway, we are very happy. The middle-aged uncle felt a little embarrassed, but his investigation department did not have a lot of funds, so he said enthusiastically, I will strongly recommend you to relevant units in countries with close diplomatic relations. Thank you, Kate likes to investigate creatures. This recommendation is very helpful to him and the other members of the team. Ah, that's right. Mr. Wang scratched his head and said, I remembered something. Someone sent part of a strange creature to Nampis. Since they are unregistered organisms that may violate regulations, they cannot be included on the list. But the person who picked it up said, rather than being taken away by stingy public agencies without any hassle, they would rather be sold to licensed hunters at a high price. Since it was an unregistered creature, it immediately aroused Kate's interest. They immediately rushed to Nampis. The relevant departments saw the biological body parts. When Xiaoming saw it for the first time, he understood it immediately. That's the forearm of a chimera ant. It turns out that this is how the protagonists enter the plot of Chimera Ants. Several people discussed it and bought some body parts for research. Thanks to Mr. Wang's introduction, I was able to get such preferential treatment. The group of people was divided into two groups. The largest one, went Ayulas, and the smallest one, Potongolaboy, took the stumps to a laboratory with better conditions for analysis. Others went to where the stumps were found. It is the southernmost coast of the European continent. When the group arrived at the location, they also received a report on the research results. It was confirmed that it was the forelimb of a chimera ant queen. Kate introduced the chimera ant species to everyone. Kilua keenly pointed out that based on the size of the forearm, the chimera ant queen is at least 2 meters tall. Such a large chimera ant is likely to eat humans. Moreover, chimera ants have great appetites, especially the queen, who has a very strong appetite. You need to consume several times your body weight in food every day. I'm afraid it will eat the entire village. Kate and others were worried about this. Once chimera ants take a liking to humans, they are likely to cause huge disasters. They rushed to investigate. According to the traceback of seawater currents, the owner of the stump, the chimera ant queen, was probably washed up on an island in the southern archipelago of the mainland. There have been no reports of large-scale population disappearance. Kate and others analyzed that the chimera ant queen may be dead, or she may have gone to a place where communication is relatively blocked. The most likely ones are the two member states of the MITNA Federation. On an east-west island, 5 countries are arranged side by side to form the MITNA Federation. Among them, the 2 countries located at the east and west ends of the island will have a phenomenon of poor communication due to their political systems. Those are 2 countries that Xiaoming is particularly familiar with, namely the NGL Autonomous State and the East Gotu Republic. In the reincarnation world, Xiaoming ate the chimera ant queen in NGL. In addition, Miru M later built his nest in the East Gotu Republic. These 2 names are impressive. So Kate and his party rushed to the border checkpoint of the NGL Autonomous State again. According to the rules, they must enter NGL to conduct investigations. Kate and his team are really good citizens who abide by the law. If it were Xiaoming, he would definitely seize the time to sneak into NGL. Can the little ability of NGL citizens still stop professional hunters? However, Kate's work investigating chimera ants will add points to his career. Therefore, there should not be too much illegality during the investigation, otherwise it will be inconvenient to report the results of the investigation. Kate and the others are different from Xiaoming, the player. They still have to follow the rules of the hunter world. Xiaoming had no choice but to follow them step by step patiently until now. He didn't even dare to urge Kate to speed up. Otherwise, Xiaoming was worried that the plot would change too much and he would lose the opportunity to protect Kate. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1335. NGL rejects any technology products. Even metals, petroleum products, glass products, chemical fibers, plastics, and other materials are not allowed to enter the country. In addition, people with nails in their bodies, teeth with metal inlays, or silicone plastic used for plastic surgery are not allowed to enter the country. It seems to be true to what they stand for, which is to protect nature. Neo-green life. But Xiaoming knows the true face of this country. Most people do respect nature. However, they were all exploited by those in power in the country. National leaders of NGL have grown a large number of raw material plants used to produce the banned drug D2 in the country. And a purification and processing base has been built to refine plants into illegal drugs. Then through the underworld forces, they are sold all over the world. We have business dealings with friends in Kexan City and Meteor Street. The relevant personnel are equipped with a large number of thermal weapons to protect their illegal business. Therefore, these measures on the border are basically to prevent others from coming in to detect the true situation inside the country. Even if the drug base is discovered by outsiders, the witnesses cannot bring in the photography equipment, so no evidence can be left. He has no weapons and cannot defeat these bad guys. Not even able to escape. It is said that many journalists were sentenced to death by NGL, or were imprisoned for long periods without being allowed to visit. They are probably the ones who discovered the inside story. Of course, these thermal weapons are of little significance to professional hunters. Powerful telepathic users are far more powerful than guns and cannons. After the Chimera Ant incident is resolved in the future, Xiaoming plans to completely destroy this high-level country that is full of crimes. That is, if they can survive until that day. In the end, only 6 people passed the NGL screening and were allowed to enter the country. Gon, Kilua, Momo, Kate, Stick Diner, and Batongo Rapoy. The 2 girls did not participate in the screening, which made everyone look at them strangely. That means there is silicone in your body. Banana Cabello just smiled and said nothing, but Spina Crow, who liked chewing bubble gum, was furious. After the 6 people entered the NGL country, they rented 10 horses for a day's price of 12,000 nuns. In the original book, Kate and others only rented 3 horses because they didn't have that much money. In this life, with the big money like Mew Mew, they can even have 1 person and 2 horses. Someone may ask, shouldn't that be 12 horses? The fact is that Potongo Laboy is smaller than Xiaja and others and cannot ride a horse alone. Kate has to carry it. The NGL government has received no reports of large insect sightings. And even if someone did witness it, no one in this country would make a fuss. They believe that even if they die after being attacked by an animal, it is the fate of a natural creature. A worthy death. Therefore, NGL and Chimera ants are a match made in heaven. Whenever the Chimera ant queen drifts to a slightly modern place, it will have been discovered and exterminated long ago. There is actually an unknown mastermind behind this incident. Therefore, the Chimera ant queen will come to NGL, which has been planned for a long time. Kate decided, we can only inspect human settlements along the coastline. After all inspections, if nothing is found, it means that the prey is not in this country. At the same time, NGL also sent 2 translators to accompany them, worried that they might not understand the language in some places. It must actually be for surveillance. Kate and others thought it was a normal surveillance behavior, but Xiaoming knew that it was to avoid being discovered by them in the cultivation and production base of contraband. At least from the mind of one of them, Xiaoming read relevant information about the planting base. Speaking of which, Xiaoming has been in the NGL autonomous country in the world of reincarnation for a long time, and the terrain is very familiar to him. However, This is the secret realm of the Magic Planet game. The map used in the secret realm must be the same as the world of reincarnation in the general direction. But in terms of details, it may not be the same. It is still necessary to have some information in advance. Before entering NGL, the driver who took them to the border checkpoint once said something casually. What can be found in such a remote place? Today alone, I picked up 10 groups of guests like you. Kate knew at that time that news about the strange creature chimera ants must have spread. Many people ran to the front of Kate's group. At this time, Kate still didn't know how terrible chimera ants were, but she thought it was a good thing. He had no intention of competing for credit. He just thought that if more professional hunters came to NGL, traces of the chimeric ant queen might be discovered earlier. This is indeed the case. Within 2 days, before Kate and her party had even gone deep into NGL, they received a letter carried by a bee. According to the content of the letter, it is a definite fact that chimera ant will flourish in NGL. What Xiaoming doesn't know is that this letter was sent by Peng Si desperately sending bees before she died. At this moment, the little girl has passed away. Her captain, Bakuer, was also poisoned by Zazan, the leader of the chimera ant division. The other 2 team members both died tragically. What a pity these talented people are. The chimera ants thought that Baku was unable to move, but in fact, Baku managed to escape temporarily with the antidote hidden in his teeth. Now he is hiding in the bones of the chimera ant nest, waiting for a chance to escape. The situation is very dangerous. Do you want to go together? Kate's words were addressed to the 3 boys collectively. But in fact, he only cares about one person at this time, that is Mewtwo. Although Kate doesn't like Mewtwo very much, she absolutely recognizes Mewtwo's strength. It feels stronger than her. Killua and Zyuja's strength is not satisfactory, but they are not weak. The hope of success will be greater if the 4 form a team. Of course, we are also professional hunters, Zyuja and Killua answered in unison. Xiaoming nodded in agreement. Kate asked Stickdina and Badongo Laboy to take the translators and return to the border of NGL to meet up with others. Immediately contact the Hunter Association and say that a high-level dangerous creature has been discovered. I hope the association will make follow-up arrangements. Kate didn't know that the Hunter Association knew the horror of the chimera ant better than him. President Netero came personally as a reinforcement and brought 2 masters. This is a top configuration that Kate couldn't even think of. Later, President Netero also died in the chimera ant crusade. Fortunately, Kate didn't make a fuss about Mewtwo's identity. If it is mentioned that the president's direct disciple Mewtwo is also in NGL, maybe Netero will bring 1 or 2 less experts. He knows how powerful Mewtwo is. Next, they need to hurry up, so Kate simply gave up the horse and ran with the 3 boys. The 4 of them just started, and they could no longer see anyone. Not to mention the translator, even the horses were scared to death. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1336. The 4 of them walked slowly into a small village consisting of more than a dozen thatched houses. There was no one in the village. Various daily necessities were scattered all over the floor, and there were even half-eaten meals. There wasn't even much blood on the ground. It seems that all the villagers in the village have been captured alive by the chimera ants, which makes Kate even more worried. The chimera ant queen has a habit. If a certain creature suits her taste, she will keep eating it until she eats the species until it becomes extinct. Different queens like different foods, so chimera ants are also called gourmet ants. It would be okay if all the humans here were killed. It means that they just encountered chimera ants and were killed. The chimera ant queen doesn't like humans at all. But that was not the case, all the villagers were captured. In other words, the queen fell in love with human food. Dead people will rot quickly, so the Chimera ants choose to capture people alive. They used neurotoxins to immobilize the captives for a month. This will keep the food fresh. Before that, Kate could still have an extravagant hope. It would be fine if the Chimera ants didn't like to eat humans. Then both sides can even coexist. Now it seems impossible. After hearing Kate's explanation, Killua was not in a good mood either. Only Miu Miu, Yin Xiaoming, looks indifferent. Is this the plot? I already knew it. Along the way, Miu Miu was actually a little too careful. Even map scan and circle don't dare to be too wide. Because he knew how powerful the Ant King's 3 guards were, he was afraid that his vast detection ability would irritate the 3 guards early. If you scare them away, where can you find them? Xiaoji shrugged his nose and pointed to the jungle outside the village. There seems to be a smell coming from over there. The 4 of them walked into the woods and got a surprise. There are 3 people standing side by side in front of them. Behind them are 3 big trees, with 3 cattle and horses stuck on the trees. However, there were 3 pieces of corpses stuck on top of the 3 animals, which looked like they were cut up Chimera ants. Xiaoming knew all 3 of these people, and he really didn't expect that the 3 of them would get together and show up here. They were none other than Crollo Rosalu, the leader of the Phantom Troop, and the other 2 were Killua's eldest brother and the eldest son of the enemy family, Ilmi. The other is Killua's 4th brother Kurd, who dresses and looks very much like a beautiful and lovely girl. In the future, I'm afraid it will be a powerful wrench that can bend countless straight men. Miu Miu, as the guest minister of the K family, had met Yumi during the hunter test, and Kurd had only seen photos. Killua exclaimed brother and said no more. His fear of Ilmi was still very deep. Xiaoming hurriedly walked forward and greeted warmly, Master Yamai, Master Kurd, hello to you 2 young masters. How come you 2 appear here by such a coincidence? He glanced at Crollo, who was smiling and silent next to him, and said, why are the 2 young masters hanging out with this guy? The relationship between Yumi and the new guest minister of the family was not good. During the hunter exam, he tried to test the wood and was almost beaten to death. At this time, Kurt should take the initiative to answer. However, Kurt was a shy kid and couldn't speak after hesitating for a while. Yumi had to take the initiative to speak. Kurt is now the 4th member of the Phantom Troop, and I am here to help. Killua asked curiously, brother, why do you want to help? Why did Kurt? Seeing that Yumi's face seemed unhappy, Crollo quickly took over the topic. This kind of Chimera ant is the enemy of all mankind. It's not surprising that everyone comes to help. I'm afraid even he himself doesn't believe this. The Phantom Troop are not good people, and beating up the enemy Haka family is more about money than people. The idea of helping all mankind has no meaning to them. In fact, Crollo came here just to fulfill his previous agreement with Miu Miu and participate in the Chimera Ant Crusade. In addition, he also wanted to protect his team members during the crusade. Hope not to lose too much. Beating up the enemies and the guest family actually have something to do with the brigade. The mother of Killua and others, Ji Chu, was born in Meteor Street. The Phantom Troop is the armed force of Meteor Street. After the Yukizan City incident, there were actually 2 vacancies in the brigade. One is Wojin, the original member number 11 who has died, and the other is Hisoka who pretended to be member number 4 and joined. Hisoka was also exposed after being captured. Due to the lack of manpower, Crollo hooked up with the enemy family and recruited the 4th son, Code, to become the new number 4 member. He also wanted to win over Yumi to replace Wojin, but Yumi was not interested for the time being. He came not to fight for all mankind, but to help his good friend Hisoka. Xiaoming roughly understood the thoughts of these people through telepathy. There is strength in numbers, and Xiaoming is not picky. I just don't know how the group leader communicates with the Kadaike family. Strictly speaking, he is still a guest of the family, but he is an enemy of the brigade. The relationship between us and the enemy is very confusing. But among the three parties, the relationship between the Haka family and the brigade is actually a little closer. Besides, there is also a game system that helps return to the main plot. As soon as Xiao Ming raised his hand, a housekeeper uniformed the Neon Beast appeared next to Xiao Ming, startling everyone. Unexpectedly, something even more amazing is yet to come. A portal opened wide, and many people appeared in front of everyone. Among them were the remaining members of the Phantom Troop, Hisoka, and three guys who looked a bit like chimera ants, the insect-humanized bomb demon trio. Even though everyone had seen the world, the whole place fell into a dead silence for a while. Kate, Gon, and Killua, who had been traveling with Mewtwo, had no idea that Mewtwo actually brought so many people with him, and so many masters. They were shocked. Illumi and Kurt probably knew that Mewtwo was very powerful, but they didn't expect him to be so powerful, so they were shocked. The members of the Phantom Troop who were suddenly released without receiving any news suddenly saw the leader again, and were surprised and happy, and stunned. The only relatively calm ones were Mewtwo, the leader, and the insect-human bomb demon trio under Xiao Ming's mental control. The scene seemed to be stopped by time. After 10 seconds, almost everyone's mouth suddenly uttered 3 or 5 sentences, and the noise was like a vegetable market. All the small animals around were scared away. After a while of talking, everyone basically understood the situation. Then everyone's eyes were focused on Mewtwo. Obviously, Xiao Ming should give orders now. The atmosphere on the scene was also very festive. The Phantom Troop reunited, and they were stronger. They would be free after completing this vote. Illumi met his younger brother and Hisoka, Kurt met his favorite third brother. All of these were things worth being happy about. The happiest person was Kate. Kate had always had a very bad feeling. He was worried that the Chimera Ant would be very powerful. Suddenly, so many masters showed up to help. He was relieved. If I had known this earlier, I wouldn't have to apply for reinforcements from the Hunter Association. Kate thought so. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1337. Looking at the group of unruly and powerful guys in front of him, Mewtwo, Yin Xiaoming, couldn't give too detailed tactical commands. They wouldn't listen to you. Killing chimera ants doesn't require Xiaoming's hands-on teaching. The dismembered chimera ant stuck on the top of the tree is already very telling. The corpse was called Lamato in his lifetime, and the DNA should have been mixed with the genes of rabbits and red-headed shrikes. Hanging prey on branches is the habit of shrikes. He is just the captain of the soldiers under the division commander Corrido. His combat power is not very strong, about sea level. But he is very important in the plot. This time, he was arranged by Corrido to test the abilities of Kate and others. In the original work, Kate did not take action, and he was beaten badly by Zyuja and Killua, and his body was hit in the air. Then he was taken back to the Chimera ant nest by Corrido. They can fly, and in a hurry, Zyuja and others could only watch them fly away. Unexpectedly, Raimundo survived the disaster and actually learned the ability of mind. After that, almost all Chimera ants used the same method. First, they were punched by Raimundo, and then they learned the ability of mind. The talent of the Chimera ant race is really powerful. The only exceptions are the Ant King and the 3 guards. They have mastered the ability of mind as soon as they were born. There is no need to be so humiliated by a punch. In addition, Raimundo later sought revenge on Killua. Under his stimulation, Killua discovered the needle that Illumi had put in his brain. The function of that needle is to make Killua retreat in time when encountering danger. If there is no sure battle, then escape quickly. Although this protected Killua, it also made Killua lose the opportunity to continue to be strong. How can a strong person like to rub oil on his feet? In order to protect Zyuja, who was in danger, Killua broke out. After pulling out the needle, he easily took off Raimudo's head. The strength has reached a new level. In this life, Lamuido encountered the trio of Kurora, Ilmi, and Kurt in advance. As a result, Lamuido was dismembered by Kurt, and Kurt ran away when he saw that the situation was not good. Xiaoming was still very relieved about the Phantom Troop, the Zaldik family, and the Bomb Demon. Besides, they already knew what the three guards looked like and how powerful they were. They even knew the abilities of some of the Chimera Ant Division leaders. Knowing yourself and knowing your enemy will ensure victory in 100 battles. So Xiaoming had only one requirement for them, not to kill the Chimera Ant Queen. They could kill the other Chimera Ants as they pleased. As long as they could beat them, it would be fine. If they wanted to fight the three guards, Xiaoming didn't care. Anyway, these guys were not good people, and it would not be a pity if they died. So the Bomb Demon trio formed a team, Siso Ilmi formed a team, and the Phantom Troop members formed teams according to their habits. Only one person stayed with Kate and others, and that was Kurt. His/her ability was very special, and he could observe the movements of others to a certain extent. So Illumi left him with Killua for safety reasons. In fact, Kurt should team up with Hisoka Illumi. But Illumi knew that Hisoka was a perverted guy, and he had already set his sights on Killua. So Illumi never wanted him to set his sights on his other brother. Although he liked Killua the most, he would not use other brothers as scapegoats. Each team went in a different direction to eliminate all the Chimera Ants they met along the way. After they set off, Kate and her group of 5 also set off in a random direction. At the same time, Xiaoming's bright summit sent away the old people and welcomed the new ones, Kurapika, Leorio, and Melody. In the original work, they did not participate in the Chimera Ant War. In this life, Xiaoming needs Kurapika's wisdom, and Kurapika also brought Leorio and Melody. Before, Xiaoming had contact with Kurapika. Because you have to fight poison with poison. Use the Phantom Troop to fight the Chimera Ants. Xiaoming must first discuss this matter with Kurapika, the mortal enemy of the brigade. Kurapika also agreed, after all, it is closely related to the fate of all mankind. However, Xiaoming opened a back door for Kurapika. During the time when the Phantom Troop was imprisoned by him, Xiaoming had already figured out the abilities of everyone. Although the leader was not imprisoned, the other members of the brigade had some guesses about his abilities. These members were elites, and their guesses were almost accurate. So Kurapika learned the details of the abilities of all the brigade members, which made it easier for him to take revenge in the future. Although the Phantom Troop is a group of very charismatic people, their crimes cannot be denied. Most of them deserve to die. In order to snatch the red eyes of the Kuruta tribe and sell them, the brigade massacred the entire Kurapika tribe, which is something that cannot be washed away in any way. This action to eliminate the Chimera Ants should give them some impression points. But Xiaoming gave this choice to Kurapika. He himself has no power to pardon the troop. In return, Kurapika also told Mewtwo all the details of his abilities. He didn't feel as good about the scheming Mewtwo as he did about Gon and Killua. However, Mewtwo helped him so much, he couldn't hide it anymore. Kurapika now knows everything about the Phantom Troop. Except for the latest member Kurt. But Kurt has just joined and is not his enemy. And the Phantom Troop still doesn't know that there is such a mortal enemy watching in secret. In the original story of Yukiksen City, Kurapika's protagonist group should have fought a battle with the Phantom Troop for several days. The troop also found out Kurapika's background. However, in this life, the Phantom Troop was conquered by Mewtwo early. Except for Yujin, no one else has seen Kurapika. And Yujin has been dead for a long time. The troop knows nothing about Kurapika. When they fight in the future, Xiaoming believes that at least half of the troop will be killed by Kurapika. Kurapika's ability shocks Xiaoming. Although he has never heard that Kurapika is the #1 cheater in Hunter x Hunter. But he already has this idea in his mind. After carefully understanding Kurapika's ability, Xiaoming found that he didn't need his ability. First, Xiaoming himself is a 6 series all-powerful Nin ability user. There is no need to use the red eyes to activate it. Second, Kurapika's ability has corresponding substitutes. Take Kurapika's 5 materialized chains for example. The binding chain on the middle finger is used to bind the phantom troop. I don't need it myself. Besides, Xiaoming doesn't need chains to arrest people. The healing chain on the thumb has medical ability. This is an ability that Xiaoming is good at, and I don't envy it. The soul chasing chain on the ring finger can track and detect lies. Haha, does Xiaoming still need this ability? The discipline chain on the little finger can make a contract for yourself or others, and the person who violates the contract will die. Xiaoming also has this kind of ability. Finally, the plundering chain on the index finger can temporarily extract and keep the ability of others to use. It's a pretty good ability. However, it goes against Xiaoming's principles. He prefers to copy or use private tutor to learn from the other party. Win-win. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1338. In order to save his master Netero and Kate in the battle against the Chimera ants in the secret realm, Xiaoming consulted with several of his think tanks and gathered their ideas. The so-called think tanks are actually his sister Xiao Jing his brother Zhang Wen, the fox demon Kurama who follows the reincarnation space, and his friend Kurapika in the secret realm. Xiaoming can tell them the real situation in detail for the first 3 people, and can only give a vague introduction to Kurapika. Of course, even if Xiaoming told him that he was an NPC in the game, under the control of the game system, he would either be completely blocked or he would not understand it at all. After analyzing the opinions of several people, the general conclusion is that as long as the Ant King Miru M is born, the game system will probably not create another Chimera Ant Queen. According to the news Xiaoming has heard from various sources, it is said that after the death of President Netero, the election of the next new president will also be a wonderful drama. He can't help but worry, if President Netero doesn't die, the main storyline will not be able to develop. Then the system is likely to kill Netero again. Xiao Jing thinks that her brother doesn't need to worry too much. Instead of spending a lot of effort to kill Netero, the system might as well secretly influence President Netero to pretend to be dead. The main plot can still proceed. And there is no need for much change. Xiaoming thinks it makes sense, so he decided to implement it according to this policy. That's why he gave orders to the Phantom Troop, the Zaldik family and other foreign aides not to kill the Chimera Ant Queen. This is also for their own good. Before the Ant King was born, the Queen enjoyed the full protection of the 3 guards. If they go rashly, they may die miserably. However, this group of guys are very strong, and their skills are varied and strange. Maybe they can really bypass the 3 guards and kill the Queen. Xiaoming doesn't want this to happen. Although the order has been issued, it is hard to say whether this group of unruly people will obey. People like Hisoka and Phaeton, who have extremely strange tempers, may do things that Muyu doesn't allow them to do, but they just want to do it. Xiaoming also had to send parasites and clones to follow these guys non-stop and monitor them in all directions, lest they ruin their own plans. Processing intelligence is not Xiaoming's specialty, so he projected the surveillance images to Guangmingding in real time, and Kurapika and the other 2 were responsible for observation and analysis. Is this the nest of the Chimera ants? The 5 people entered a cave to explore, and Xiaoji looked at the situation in the cave and asked in disbelief. In fact, seeing the objects of human society everywhere, even the simple Xiaoji felt that this place was not very similar. But there shouldn't be no one in the human base? Is the quality of the people in NGL so high? Don't lock the door at night? Sure enough, Kate flatly denied, no. Chimera ants don't dig holes, their nests are built with mud and feces. Continuing to explore in depth, the 5 people soon found things that should never appear in NGL. Machines, guns, computer systems. Kate said, "This is the dark side of NGL." Kia hesitated and asked, "The narcotics factory?" "Yes, this is the manufacturing factory of the popular narcotics D2. There should be narcotics raw material fields in the nearby suburbs." Kate couldn't help but sneer, "This is called a nature reserve. It's really ridiculous." He also understood that the real responsibility was the top management of NGL, and most ordinary people must be unaware of it. If it were normal times, Kate would immediately destroy this narcotics factory. Then report to the Hunter Association and completely deal with NGL. But now it's not necessary. There is no one here, which means that it has been cleaned up by the Chimera ants. The head of NGL is either dead or fleeing. Xiaoming destroyed this factory in person in the reincarnation world. Killed all those who deserved to die. Suddenly, Kate pointed to 3 dark holes on one side, indicating that there were enemies coming from that side. Xiaoming had seen it a long time ago. From the middle hole, a tall centaur-shaped chimera ant walked out. This form is not surprising in the hybrid population of chimera ants. This guy was holding 2 chains with 2 people tied to the end of the chains. They were obviously human beings, but they were forced to crawl on the ground like dogs. It seemed that they had become the toys of the chimera ant. Seeing this scene, Kate and his group, as well as Karapika and the other 2 in Guangmingding, were all indignant. It was too much bullying. A gentleman can be killed but not humiliated, and an uncle can be tolerated but an ant cannot be tolerated. Of course, only Xiaoming's anger was pretended. He was not really that angry. As a human, he was indeed a little unhappy. But human is only one of Xiaoming's identities. He also has several identities such as Zerg, Protoss, Dragon Warrior, and Hades. At this time, he also has the identity of a tree, Orange Xiaoming. From the perspective of other identities, this matter is not a big deal. What humans do to other species is much more excessive than the behavior of this chimera ant. Even if this chimera ant is compared with these 2 people who were forced to be dogs. It turns out that these 2 people are more sinful. Because they were both from the narcotics factory, they all had a lot of blood debts on their backs. All of them were caused by harming their own kind. On the other hand, the chimera ant was born not long ago, so it didn't have time to do too many bad things. Moreover, the chimera ant and humans are hostile to each other, so it can't be said that he didn't have a trace of sin in killing people, but compared with these 2 humans, he was much better. Of course, judging from the character of this chimera ant, it is probably a bloodthirsty guy. If he is given enough time, he will soon be guilty of a serious crime. Even if he is killed now, it is not wrong for him. There is nothing wrong with killing for food, but it is absolutely not right to abuse. These 2 humans were bullied so badly by the chimera ant. Both of them were in tears. One of them kept trying to please the chimera ant, hoping to live a little longer, the other cried and shouted help to several people. The chimera ant was annoyed by the noise and raised its front hoof to trample the human to death. Kate was worried about a trap and stopped the impulse of others to rescue. "It doesn't matter," Muta raised his right hand and threw a lump of something over. It was a large bomb. There are many kinds of abilities in the bomb. There is the explosion ability that Xiaoming initially trained, the voice of life of the bomb demon, and the ability of the bomb dominant monster crow. Therefore, it is extremely powerful. There was a loud boom, and the whole cave seemed to shake for a few seconds. Not only were the chimera ants and 2 humans killed, but 3 passages were also blown down. 2 chimera ants were hiding at the 2 cave entrances nearby, and they were all affected by the bomb and died. they didn't even get a chance to appear. Otherwise, the three of them would have died at the hands of Kate, Gon, and Killua, and the two humans would have died at the hands of the Chimera ants. The sooner they die, the sooner they will be reborn. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1339. In this battle against the Chimera ants, the strength of both humans and Chimera ants can be said to be completely reversed. At least it was like this before the birth of the Ant King. In addition to the Phantom Troop, the Zaldik family, and Kate's group, our strength is also strong. Xiaoming also used the dead branches and leaves everywhere in the forest to summon the puppet army with magic. The number of puppet army is almost endless, but the combat power is too weak, so Xiaoming released his own army of mind beasts, the Orc Girl army, the alien King Kong, and the Transformers. And the monsters in the Universal Item Level 3 Summoning Cube, Nightmare Ghost Freddy, the Alien Queen, and the Minotaur family of 3. Some people may wonder, where are the other people in the Summoning Cube? Why not summon them out? Where did the rural zombie Buckner family, Solati, the legendary battleship Silent Mary, and the 100 female ghosts headed by Nai Xiaoqian go? Solati and Silent Mary cannot go ashore due to the curse. So they cannot appear. The zombie family is too weak and slow in action, so they are useless in this battle. The situation of the 100 female ghosts is quite special. They are also very weak, and only Nai Xiaoqian has reached level 4/D. The other female ghosts are only about level 2 or 3. When Xiaoming got the female ghosts, he wanted to improve their combat effectiveness. However, the Buckner family, which is also of low level, did not receive such preferential treatment. This shows that Xiaoming is actually a person who cares about appearance. The zombie family is too ugly, so he is too lazy to improve it. Xiaoming's first idea to transform the female ghosts is to improve their realm. Nai Xiaoqian already has the skills of ghost cultivation, but she lacks only yin qi. When they were under the hands of the tree demon grandma, the grandma could not give them much yin qi for cultivation. And in Xiaoming's Quafu underworld, there is a strong yin qi everywhere. Female ghosts and Hades are simply a match made in heaven. In the game, Xiaoming's Guangmingding is very different from the Guangmingding in reality, and they cannot be used together. This is the difference between virtual and reality. However, the amazing thing is that Quafu's underworld doesn't care about this. It can be opened in the game or in reality, and it is the same underworld. This phenomenon seems to show that the so-called game world and virtual world are not particularly virtual. There is also a certain degree of reality. At least some souls in the game can be received by the underworld, and they are not treated separately from the souls in the real world. This is a phenomenon worth pondering. Perhaps the real world that Xiaoming thinks of is just a virtual world for some beings. He has seen such a movie before. After the development of human technology, the virtual world was created with computer networks, and then the NPCs in the virtual world used their computers to create another virtual world. It's like nesting dolls. How can we judge which one is real? Which one is illusory? It seems reasonable to say that the world of Pangustar was created by some higher level god. Don't people like Kawashima Yoshiko think that the world of Pangustar is actually a reincarnation world created by the reincarnation space? However, the existence that has the ability to create the world does not necessarily have to use a computer system to create it. In the past, Xiaoming believed that both the reincarnation world and the real world were real. The game worlds such as the martial arts planet and the magic planet were virtual. Now it is discovered that the Quafu Hades is common to both sides and accepts souls from both sides, which makes Xiaoming unsure. Perhaps the so-called real world and game world are just a question of how much authenticity there is. Maybe these worlds are just between absolute reality and absolute virtuality. It can even be said that a 100% real or virtual world does not exist. Thinking of this, Xiaoming found that if he continued to think about this kind of thing, it would be endless. He was too lazy to think about it. Since it has come, he should make the best of it and just take it as it comes. Since the soul can pass through, Xiaoming proposed to the female ghosts that they should choose to re-enter the reincarnation. Maybe they can be reborn in the real world and start a new life. However, they were rejected, and the female ghosts said they were willing to follow Quafu Hades forever. In other words, among these 100 female ghosts, only Nai Xiaoqian and a dozen others are real souls that can be reincarnated. The other 90 or so souls are just intelligent programs in the game. The female ghosts simulated by the intelligent program can actually be accepted by the underworld and can even be reincarnated. Amazing. Finally, Xiaoming decided that inspired by the goddess Eva, he would try to merge these female ghosts with his own mind beasts. At first, Xiaoming wanted them to merge into the beastmen uniforms. However, the beastmen uniforms themselves have combat power, which conflicts with the abilities of the female ghosts, making it difficult to merge. On the contrary, the professional uniforms that have little combat power can merge well with the female ghosts. So, these 100 female ghosts disappeared from the third-order Rubik's Cube one by one, and there was not a single one left. They merged with Xiaoming's various professional uniform mind beasts. Female ghost teachers, female ghost students, female ghost nurses, female ghost servants, female ghost lawyers, and so on. Only the female ghost reporter has been occupied by the clone of the goddess Eva, and they cannot merge. Theoretically, the professional uniform beast itself only has special abilities and no combat power. After merging with the female ghost, it has gained the blessing of the female ghost's combat power. And after merging with the mind beast, as long as the owner of the mind beast, Xiaoming, does not die, the female ghosts can live forever. This characteristic is quite suitable for fighting. Unfortunately, these female ghosts have been oppressed by the tree demon for too long, and now they have lost interest in fighting. They are more willing to help Xiaoming and deal with various miscellaneous affairs. Just like playing house, they can help with things in reality, in the game, and in the underworld. Xiaoming feels sorry for their life experience and is happy to let them do whatever they want. After all, hundreds of beautiful female ghosts wearing various stockings and uniforms are floating around, which is actually very pleasing to the eye. The avatar of the goddess Eva can occupy all the reporter uniforms, which is due to her high ability. The levels of the female ghosts are too far apart. Each female ghost can only fuse a professional uniform mind beast. It can neither occupy a profession. It cannot be changed at will. It is the one you choose. They basically cover all professions except reporters. Nai Xiaoqian took the initiative to fuse the housekeeper uniform. She probably has some kind of peculiar positioning for herself. When Xiaoming summons uniform beasts, he can choose whether to summon the uniform with the female ghost fused in it. As the saying goes, good things should be kept within the family in front of outsiders. Xiaoming will only summon ordinary uniforms. In private, he will summon female ghosts. So this time, Xiaoming did not let the female ghosts appear in the battle against the Chimera ants. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1340. Z-Series Puppetry, Throwing Beans to Make Soldiers. This is just a name that comes up with something. Throwing beans to make soldiers was originally a Taoist technique. Unfortunately, Xiaoming doesn't know it. His throwing beans to make soldiers is a magic that creates a large number of low-level puppets. Just send out a few 7-star shadow clones and use magic on the thick dead branches and leaves piled up on the forest floor. Countless 0-2 level wooden puppets stood up, searching for chimera ants all over the mountains and fields, and fighting with them. The combat power of a general puppet made of ordinary branches is about 1 level. It is equivalent to a slightly stronger human. The reason why there are a large number of 0-level puppets is that some branches have been rotten for too long. Although they were barely synthesized into puppets under the power of magic, they are still too brittle. Basically, they will break if touched. Even if no one touches it, it may fall apart while walking. Since it is a world with a higher energy level like Hunter x Hunter, there are naturally some branches with quite good texture in the forest. The puppets they formed were of level 2. Xiaoming's parasites, which were almost everywhere, quickly entered the bodies of these level 2 puppets and became the command center. Parasites cannot improve the physical properties of puppets, but they can make the puppets set up the Tiangangbai formation, or even the Tiangangbai formation. This move undoubtedly greatly enhanced the combat effectiveness of the puppets. How could the Chimera ants see through the mystery of the Tiangangbai formation? It was inevitable that they were confused. And even if the puppet soldiers were killed, the parasites generally would not die, and they could quickly change another puppet to parasitize. Unless they were very unlucky. In addition, there were countless dead branches and fallen leaves in the forest, but the corpses of animals were difficult to preserve. Except for the animals that had just been hunted, the corpses had long been eaten up by carnivores. However, most of the bones of the corpses were preserved. After all, there were not many animals that could digest bones. As long as the shadow clone felt that the breath of death was relatively strong, Death Harvest could be launched. So all kinds of animal skeleton soldiers appeared. Xiaoming now has a deeper understanding of undead magic, and the skeleton soldiers he summons are no longer mainly in human form. The forest is full of animal bones. Forcibly combining them into human skeleton soldiers requires more magic power, and their combat effectiveness is not as good as that of animal forms. On the contrary, shaping animal skeleton soldiers according to the prototype of bones is relatively more efficient. This is a manifestation of Xiaoming's progress in undead magic. Why is this so? The answer is that learning makes people progress. Xiaoming once left various shadow clones on the Yan Emperor Galaxy Nuwa planet. About 2 months ago, the army of the New Han Kingdom once recruited Zhang Xiaoming to go to the Qingkai base on Nuwa planet to assist in guarding. A series of things happened at that time, and as a result, Zhang Xiaoming met the indigenous 7th level intermediate undead mage Brahmin. He became a distinguished guest of the Brahmin kingdom. So Xiaoming stationed several 7 Lights shadow clones and some ordinary shadow clones in that undead city. Later, naturally, a lot of parasites were sent. These clones go deep into all walks of life in the city of the dead and learn all kinds of knowledge and magic related to the dead. It's just that the learning process is slow. First, because the pace of life of the dead species is slow. They especially like to sleep. When they are bored, it is common to sleep for several days, months, or years. High-level dead can even sleep for tens of thousands of years. For more than 2 months, Brahmin has not met Xiaoming again. Because in Brahmin's feeling, Xiaoming just arrived. It would be more appropriate to arrange the next meeting and conversation a few years later. Even later doesn't matter. Too early will appear to be too enthusiastic. Second, because the undead race has a long lifespan, they are not willing to teach their skills to other undead. They all like to hide it. After all, isn't it better for others to keep it as a trump card? It's not okay to teach the apprentice to starve the master to death. So Xiaoming needs to pick out of their minds bit by bit. But this is not a simple matter. Most of the high-level undead have strong mental power, so there are many ways to protect their own mental power in the undead magic. When facing other races, even if they are A-level masters, Xiaoming can use telepathy to get the information he wants from their brains. But in the undead race, telepathy against B-level guys often fails. And when they succeed by chance, they will usually be discovered by the other party and cause a commotion. So the learning process in the Brahmin kingdom is relatively slow. Such a long time has passed. Xiaoming has not learned much new undead magic, but after long-term contact, his understanding of the undead race has deepened a lot. When using Death Harvest or other undead magic, the effect will be more arbitrary and flexible. Tens of thousands of puppets and skeletons shocked both the enemy and us. Our personnel are naturally surprised. As long as you are good at using these cannon fodder as cover, the chance of being killed by the Chimera ants is greatly reduced. Several people in the Phantom Troop and Ilmi have been besieged by puppets or skeleton soldiers. I know how troublesome these guys are. I didn't expect that when they become partners, they are so reliable. The enemy Chimera ants are horrified. They will be dragged into a messy fight by the cannon fodder all over the mountains. There are even cases of low-level soldiers being killed by the cannon fodder. In theory, it is difficult for Chimera ants above the rank of captain to be killed by low-ranking soldiers. Even if they are injured, they still have a chance to escape. However, unfortunately, there are many masters hidden among these cannon fodders. They will secretly attack the captains and division commanders of Chimera ants. As long as they are surrounded by puppets and skeleton soldiers, almost no Chimera ant can escape. In the original work, the initial crusade team was composed of 3 masters, President Netero, Nobu, and Moruoa. They attacked Chimera ant with 3 people and did not mobilize other hunters. What the president is worried about is that hunters with insufficient combat power cannot guarantee their own safety, but are easily eaten and absorbed by Chimera ants and transformed into the combat power of Chimera ants. According to this statement, the most regrettable thing for Chimera ants is that they did not let the queen eat Kate's body. Although Kate was reborn in the Chimera ants in the end. But his powerful and well-tempered body was made into a toy by Neferpitou. If Kate's body is eaten by the queen, it is very likely that a division commander who is far superior to his peers will appear. It is also possible that he can compete with the 3 guards. At least, absorbing so much high-level energy can also allow the Ant King Miruem to be born earlier and even become more powerful. Therefore, the president's decision is understandable. In this life, Xiaoming used cannon fodder soldiers that cannot be absorbed and came up with human sea tactics. Whether it is puppets or skeletons, they are things that Chimera ants cannot eat. On the contrary, the corpses left by Chimera ants have strengthened the strength of the expedition team. Most of them were absorbed by Xiaoming, and the few survivors were parasitized by the alien queen and turned into relatively powerful alien warriors. They formed an alien combat team with the queen as the core. After this battle is over, Xiaoming can take the queen and the alien warriors back to the summoning cube.